About Akothee. Now, Akothee has been low-key for a long time, and it seems like, no, the universe was like, you cannot be silent. You need to be outside. Because tell me why she's a restaurant in Westlands with her children and her COO, and they're just, kicking, having lunch or whatever, and just when they're about to leave, there's smoke everywhere. And the fact that I've been watching Chicago Fire, I just knew. Immediately they want to exit and they want to run out of the restaurant, and they're told to avoid the stairs. And obviously in a fire you can't use elevators. That's just like fire 101. If you don't know, now you know. Usijaribu kupanda elevator during any emergency. And now they're like, now we're trapped because where do we go? If the smoke and the fire has already taken over the staircase, where do we go? So the restaurant is opening up to the balcony and the terrace and everywhere. And they look down below. And Kenyans who are supposed to be helping and figuring out how these trapped people are going to come out of these restaurants have their phones outside. They're just recording. It felt like something out of a movie. And it's unfortunate that this is what happens. Somebody is struggling. We've even seen car accidents. There has been a car accident and people are just like this. Like somebody is just dying. People are like this recording. And people who are actually going to help are robbing the people in the accident. So I just don't understand human nature. So she says she goes over to the balcony and she notices that the people who are down below are simply recording on their phones. So now, like, how do we get down? Because we actually can't jump. We're on the 3rd floor. Luckily, somebody was able to come up to get a ladder, and she was able to give her car keys to somebody she was familiar with in the crowd, and they were able to get down. But the thing that stood out for me, first of all, was the response time with the guys from
Fire department.
Fire department. The response time, it was interesting. Number 2, Kenyans. When did we become people who start recording instead of helping first? Where, like, imagine if it was you. You don't even have to imagine. Where's your humanity? If I saw somebody in need, my first thought would not be, let me take a video of this. So I don't know, I don't understand where the disconnect is. That's the only thing that really stood out for me in the whole story. Because even I saw people in my stories who were driving past and actually got into the place just so they could take a video and get out. And I'm just like, what do you mean? What do you mean you're creating more traffic just so you can have content and share it on social media? It makes absolutely no sense. So guys, can we do better? Can we be better human beings? Please, it just cannot be me and Jesus who are nice in this planet. Can the rest of you join us? Can we just be sensible?
I think, first of all, I think the first thing we need to have a conversation about is that most of us don't even know what to do in case of an emergency. If we're being entirely honest, us guys weren't taught to stop, drop, and roll to the point where it became a trend. Like when you see a fire, when you see something, shooting anything, stop, drop, and roll. Like just stop, drop, and roll, because we all know that, well, we should be taught that if there is smoke in a building, it's coming from up here. If you go low and you crawl, there's more oxygen over here. So before the smoke lands, you've already accumulated some of that oxygen and you are moving, and you have a bag, you're collecting the hewa from the, unachukua karatasi, una collect hii hewa mzuri, unafunika, unaanza kukimbia nayo. Ukisikia umelemewa, unafunika, like some of these things you only see or you get to learn when you watch a movie, when you watch something on TikTok or on social media in general. But we are not taught like the basics of how to deal with things when it's an emergency. How do you deal with an emergency? If it's a building collapsing, how do you deal with that? Because we've seen so many buildings collapsing, have we not? When you see an accident, what do you do? Because people are idiotic enough that when you see 2 cars have collided, the first thing you're doing is running towards the car. What if there is a leak? What if a fire starts? Now you're a casualty as well. Like there's so many things that you can do that do not necessarily entail you endangering yourself or adding on to what's already happening. But taking your phone and recording? Didn't we have this conversation with when was it Takeoff? With Takeoff, like people recording really traumatizing situations. Like, didn't we have this conversation enough to the point where we know that in cases of an emergency, you're supposed to be helping, assisting, to say dear wapi, badala ya kwanza kurecord, you know? It is what it is. Because guys will see Akothee and they're like, eat a trend baadaye, nataka kuwa on the trend. You know, it's just, do better.
Yep.
Do better, you know? Find that humanity deep inside. I know it has been overflooded with all the bad things happening in the world, but find it and use it. Moving on.